Hey all, welcome back to Nurses.co.uk. My name is Louisa. I am a midwife here in London, and I want to talk to you guys today about being a midwife with a long-term health condition / disability. So I myself do have a long-term health condition. I have lupus, which is an autoimmune disease. So basically my immune system is attacking the healthy cells in my body and it's working against itself. I do have SLE, so mine's systemic, and the way my lupus has affected me so far, I have only been diagnosed for 2 years though, mind you, but from what I've noticed is that I have had some skin presentations of my lupus, but also my joints. I have lots and lots of pain in my joints and swelling in my joints. It does come and go. I haven't found a regime of medication that works amazingly just yet, where I'm like in remission and feel absolutely no pain at all. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but hopefully I will do soon. But the way that I want to talk to you guys about how I handle having my long-term health condition and being a midwife at the same time. I want to talk to you guys about the things that I have done to adapt in my practice, but also how my work has adapted with me, and some tips and tricks for you guys, hopefully, who have long-term health conditions, on how you can kind of adapt, but also what you should do to get support as well. So I accepted my job and then I had my first ever flare-up of my lupus, and so in that whole process of going through occupational health and everything, I was completely open and honest with what was going on with the person who was linked to my trust and like maternity unit, but also with the occupational health therapists and everyone. So that kind of worked out really well, in the sense of I wasn't nervous to say anything because I was just like, I need as many people around me that can help me as possible. So that was really good, I guess. But yeah, so I was really open and honest with everyone. That meant I also got to speak to an occupational health doctor about the symptoms I was having and about kind of what I was experiencing, and they got to make adjustments for me. So as soon as I went into my job, I had those adjustments in place. It was already set. My manager had been emailed from the occupational health doctors what I was and wasn't allowed to do / what was recommended for me to do. And a lot of those things were things such as I can't do night shifts because I don't know how to sleep during the day, and when you have a lack of sleep, it makes my lupus flare-up actually flare up more. So it makes my joints hurt more and my body kind of feels stiff and painful. This does also happen to me working days, but I'm trying to get better at sleeping for longer during the night, which is hard, but we're getting there. But yeah, and then other things are I can't do a bunch of consecutive days in a row. So I can't work, say, 3 shifts in a row because I get so exhausted and my body starts to hurt by after the second day. I'm just like, I don't know how I'm supposed to survive past this. So that was definitely a big help, and I definitely recommend whoever has a long-term health condition or a disability to go to occupational health and your managers and make them aware, and so that they can make the right and correct adjustments for you, because the only way we can be treated equally is to be kind of treated differently, to kind of give you that step up to that equal footing as someone who doesn't have a long-term health condition like you do. Another thing I would suggest doing is being open and honest if you're comfortable to be, but being open and honest with those you work with is so helpful. For instance, with me, I had a little bit of trouble in one of the areas I was working with. It was a big palaver, but I was open and honest about it to people in a different area, and they actually was like, well, why don't you come work with us and we can make adjustments, or we can help you, like we would love to have you. And because I was open and honest, I actually am now working in the area that I'm working in, and if I need to do a VE, but my hands are hurting me that day, because it's very often that my hands, like especially my wrists and my fingers, like the joints of my knuckles, are very sore, and sometimes they do actually swell. So if my hands are hurting me that day, I just need to tell my colleagues like, hey, I'm so sorry, today does not seem like a good day for my body, my joints are hurting me, could you please do my VE? And they'll do those examinations for me. I'm a person who does like to push through pain, unfortunately. So I will push myself to do as much work as I can. But when it comes to certain things that I know are definite triggers and will definitely kind of ruin me for a couple days to come, I know that's my limit, and I tell them, hey, I'm so sorry guys, I can't do this, please can you do it? And they are more than happy to help out, because that's what it's like working in a team. Like, you're supposed to help each other out all the time anyway. And so that's been a godsend, is working with people who can either empathize or sympathize with me and with what I'm going through. And because I'm open and honest with it, and I communicate kind of how I'm feeling that day and what's going on, it's really helpful that we can just kind of work together. Another thing I would suggest doing, again, it's along the same lines as being open and honest with people, is I would definitely sit down with my manager, or kind of have an informal conversation with my manager, and just tell them, okay, so these are the doctor's appointments I have, because I have a lot of consultant appointments and I have a lot of blood tests I have to do. So as soon as I find out when my blood tests are or my consultant appointments are, I kind of just sit down with the person who does the rota, which is generally the manager, and I'm like, okay, so I need these days off because I have these appointments, or this is kind of what's going on with my medication right now, this is how it's affecting my body, or you know, I think I might find a regime which is working well, so I might be able to work 2 days in a row this week, or for like the next month I can work 2 days in a row and then have 1 day there, so that I have more days off together. It's just something that kind of works for me, because I don't like working 1 day on, 1 day off, which was suggested by occupational health. I hate that. So when I'm actually feeling better, I do sit down with my managers and I'm like kind of discussing the rota in the sense of, hey, do you mind actually putting me to work together 2 days in a row instead of having a day off in between? Or I would say, actually, I need this day off because I have appointments on this day, and that's kind of what I'm going to be doing for like the next month or the next every 2 weeks, because I have blood tests every 2 weeks. So it's just, again, being open and honest and kind of communicating where you're at in your long-term health condition and where you're at with your doctor's appointment and your medication and regime, just so that everyone can work together to create a good working environment, and a working environment that works for everyone. Because I'm someone who doesn't like to put other people out if I don't need to, so I like to kind of get ahead of things. Plus sometimes I feel like I can feel when my body's a bit off. For maybe 2-3 months I've been saying, I feel like I'm gonna get ill soon, and everyone's just like, okay, like what does that mean? And then about 2 weeks ago, I feel like I kind of hit that bottom of, oh, I feel really rough, like I don't think I can do consecutive days, and I don't think I can do this and that. And it was something that was kind of pre-warned anyway, and so it was easy to make adjustments and for people to do the rota, so it didn't disrupt work too much, which is why I say being kind of open and honest with where you're at and what's going on with you is really great. Also, I just wanted to say that, remember, working within the NHS, also just working in the UK, there are legal things that they can and cannot do. They cannot discriminate against you because of a long-term health condition or a disability. It's against the law. So don't feel scared to be open and honest about it, because you've got the law on your side. We are so lucky in this country to have that when it comes to things like gender, race, sexuality, and then also disabilities. So don't be scared, be open and honest. They have to make adjustments, and it's something that they're willing to do. It's the whole reason why the NHS has occupational health like therapists and doctors, to make sure that you are okay. So I would just suggest being open and honest and just getting everything out on the table so that they can make work for you, because they need staff. So they're not going to just kick you out because A, illegal, and B, they need staff. So make sure that you do what's best for you. And if it's something that you don't like, just kind of talk it through. See if you can talk it through and have that open, honest discussion. Or if there's something that you think, actually, maybe this would help me more, again, bring it to occupational health, and hopefully they can work that into your adjustments and requirements. I hope this video has been helpful, and if you guys want more tips and tricks, there are hundreds of articles on Nurses.co.uk. And also, if you want more job descriptions and more jobs that are out there, also check that out on Nurses.co.uk.